guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining again. I know it's been a while. It's been a little longer than usual. I know. I am very sorry. I've been very busy. I had so many things that I was trying to focus on. I'm back like never left. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we want to talk about everything. I want to tell you guys everything that I've been doing, okay? So yeah, let's start. If it's the first time you're joining my YouTube channel, my name is Jermaine. I live in Ottawa and I'm 31 years old. And I've been married for, actually this November, we're gonna turn into 4 years. It's been an amazing journey. I am very happy and I just see the future, how it's gonna be the best, like how the future is gonna be bright, and I'm just excited. So today I decided I will make sure, at least guys, I promise you, I'll make sure at least once per week I find the time to do even a video of 10 minutes. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. Please, because I have so many amazing news to tell you. I have so many things that I've been working on. I want to share with you. I want to share the knowledge. I want to share the experience. I want to take you through it with me. So let me maybe introduce myself a little bit. So people who don't know me, I'm a real estate investor. I'm an entrepreneur, but also I'm a professional life insurance advisor. So I do all those things. So I'm just gonna break it down each one at a time to try to understand what I do. So I remember when I started investing into real estate here in Canada, me and my husband, we actually when we bought our first house, you know, we had to put down 120,000 just for deposit because we were doing 20%. So you can actually pay 4% if you're gonna live in the house so that you pay less. But for us, we already have the house, we're already living in another house, so we couldn't actually just move, right? So we decided, you know what, we're just gonna put 20% down. You know, we're so excited, we were very happy to do it. And then after, you know, you're purchasing a home, and then now you have to go into like, when is the next deal? When is the second house? Like, when am I buying? Is it gonna take 10 years for me to buy the second house? And after I started realizing, no, I don't need to put all this money. I don't need to do all these things. I can just change the way, I can just learn how other people who are here, who've been successful into real estate for 40 years, 30 years, how they're doing it. And then I don't need to use my money. I can just, you know, work, you know, as they say, it's always good to invest with somebody else's money. So I started learning the journey of buying a multi-unit or buying a multi-apartments together, basically like a building. So right now what I do, I try to get a deal. I get a good deal. Let's say a building of 20 units or 20 apartments or 30, 40, something like that. So I analyze the deal. I see if it makes sense. So we do, me and the realtors, we do back and forth because, you know, it's a building, it's a big project. You have to make sure you have the right numbers, the right size, anything, you need to have all the numbers together. You know, all the numbers have to be, you know, you have to have a really good numbers. So once you finalize everything, once you do all your due diligence, now you bring investors in. So I get a deal, let's say I have to put down $400,000 down, you know, so I need to find people who can bring that money. So I got a deal, they bring the money, we buy together, and every 3 to 5 years we refinance. There's something, okay, for me, I used to work in the bank. I used to have a customers who calls, they want to refinance or they want to do this. So I kind of have that experience, you know, into financing. So refinance, it means something you bought it 100,000 and now after 3 to 5 years it's already increased value. Let's say 150. You go to the bank, you tell them, hey, my house now it's 150, it's not 100 anymore. So they come, they bring Vector from the bank. He comes, he checks everything, that if the house actually has that value, they give you the 50,000 cash, and then they put that 50,000 on the house. So the same thing, that was just an example, the same thing as the buildings. So we purchase a properties or the building like a 2 million, 3 million, and then let's say we put down a 500,000 or 400,000, whichever amount. And then after 3-5 years, we refinance. We go to the bank, we say the building was 2 million, 5 years later, now it's 2.5. So they give us a 500,000. The first round, the first 3 to 5 years, the first round, we pay back all the investors, all their money after 5 years. Now we are in the deal, just without nobody else's money. So now for the next another 5 years, when we do a finance the second time, now we share the profit. And every 5 years we keep doing that, we keep doing that, we keep doing that. That's what I do into real estate investor. So we purchase a property, we purchase a building that has multiple units, more than 10, 11, 15, 20, 30. you know, and then once we purchase it, we bring investors in, we tell them how they're going to make their money back and how they're going to be in the deal, how this deal is good for the next 30 to 40 years and even above. And then once the investors are interested, they bring the money, we deal with the lawyers, the realtors, everybody who has to involve, everybody come to the board, and then we purchase the property. So that's what I do. So, you know, I actually started switching, I would say probably at the beginning of this year. Before, I used to be an investor, but I was doing into small properties, like you know, buying a small house, a single house, and you know, it takes time. Not only you're doing it by yourself, but also it needs a lot of money. And that property you're purchasing right now, it's not going to increase the value as the same thing as a building, because a building is big, and it has so much units, so much apartments, and the increased value. I would say the volume, or how can I say it in English? Basically, increase the value often, like more compared to the single houses. So that's what I started doing. If I'm gonna purchase a property that is by itself, it has to be 1 million and above. Because if you don't get the property that is very high or very expensive, a little expensive, then even it's not gonna increase more. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So anyways, that's what I do into real estate, but also now I added to do Airbnb, so, you know, the journey, all of that. So if you want to learn, you know, you learn it with me, you come, we talk, and then I help you the same thing as that I'm helping myself. Something else I think into real estate people always get scared of is to not to pay for coaching, not to pay for mentorship. You need to, because if you don't pay for mentorship, you won't be able to get to the right rooms. There's these big rooms of the rich people. You know, these billionaires, these millionaires who are already doing it 30, 40, 50 years into real estate. How are you going to see them? How are you going to get to them if you're not paying for mentorship? If you're not paying for these big rooms, you need to pay for money. I know it's expensive, but if you want to be if you want to be with the right people, you need to pay the cost. That's how it is, you know. And I decided to do that. You know, it was you know, it was very expensive, but I decided I put the faith in advance. And now I would say all this year, actually I have so much video that I never post. Like this year I've traveled at least 4 times instead of Canada. Just going to either have a client, or I have a conference, or you know, just traveling. And I've been having an amazing time this year, and I may actually travel again twice. But it's not yet confirmed, but all these things, it's because I've decided to go into real estate. I love real estate. I enjoy doing the deals. I enjoy communicating with other people, seeing other people are doing an amazing job, and learning from them. That's how you grow. You have to cycle yourself with people who are already successful, because if you don't do that, anyone around you who are not trying to do what you're doing, who are under you, or who are in the same situation as you, guess what? They're gonna drag you down. They're gonna put you down. They're gonna pull you over. Even if you may not fall today, I'm telling you, in the long run, you're going to fall. So you need to surround with people who are successful, people who are trying, people who are doing an amazing job on the industry that you're trying to do. That's how you grow. That's how you become bigger as well. So that's what I've decided for the last 2 years. That's what I've been focusing on. So that's a real estate. Now let's talk about second thing. It's a professional life insurance advisor. So when you hear life insurance advisor, you think about it's life. You know, someone has to take a life insurance to protect themselves. But I remember when I came to Canada, you know, the moment I heard about life insurance, I was like, oh my God, I cannot do that. Like, it's so expensive, it's for rich people, blah, blah, blah. Until I started realizing how it's very important. There's this example. I remember after 1 year and a few months that I've been here in Canada, 2016, since 2016, so basically it was like around 2017 in March, something like that. So a place where I used to live, I had a neighbor. Those neighbors, they were Burundians. I'm not going to mention their name. They had a fire on their house. Like, there were a fire in their house, and then everything in the house got burned. And then I was like, oh my God, so they're just going to lose everything? And in my head, I didn't know. Those people, they were smart. They took insurance on the house. Yeah, let me say it in that way. They had a protection on the house. So the moment the house got burned, guess what? They get the money from insurance company. On that moment, they got the money, everything was sent over, and they got the money. The moment they got the money, guess what they did? They went to buy a house. Imagine you just been here like 1 year or less than a year, your house is burnt and you don't know what to do. Because you have already protected yourself, now you're getting money from the house you've been protecting, or the things in your house, and now you're getting money from insurance company, they got the money, they want to buy a house right away. So you just got here, now you have like a 40K or 50,000. You've never had that money before because you just got here. From that moment, it actually clicked in my head. I was like, oh my God, imagine if they didn't have the protection. But now they're not gonna get anything. They'll be stuck. They'll be, they have to start over, and everything, like, it was just gonna be too much. But because they did it in advance, now they're doing well. They already bought a house. I don't know if they bought the second one, the third, but they made the right decision. For that moment, that's when I started realizing how protecting yourself into insurance is very important. So I started learning about it, and I remember I used to have a small life insurance. When you call, they're like, oh, I need a life insurance, but I want the small one, I want the cheaper one, or small, the one that I can only pay like a $10 or $20. But you forget, the less you pay, the money, if you take so there's two types of life insurance. There's a long term and there's a short term. The short term is a life insurance you get for between 10 to 20 years. And then after that 10 to 20 years finishes, there's nothing else to ask for. You cannot go to the company, tell them, oh, I've been paying you guys for 10 years, for 20 years. I need my money back, or I need the investment. No, they don't. 20 years is done and you're done. And then now you have to start over. Imagine today you're 20 years is done, you're 40. By the time 20 years is done, you're 40. Guess what? When you're 40 and you go to ask for life insurance, it's gonna be very expensive, and you may even not get it depending of your health situation. So I always tell people, either young people or people who are whatever age, you need to take life insurance as early as possible. Because when you take it when you're already like a 40, 45, or 50, and you have disease or you have something that you're battling about, it may actually be hard. You may actually not get the life insurance. So make sure you take the right one and you take the permanent one. Because the permanent one brings two things. It gives you the stability, and also it builds an investment. It builds an investment income. So basically, after some time, let's say after 7 years, you've been paying your permanent life insurance, you start making money. Basically, it becomes like a business on the side, and then you can take that money. If you're an entrepreneur, you can go and start a new business, completely new business, or you can just go for a vacation. So I always tell people, please, if you don't have a permanent life insurance, you are wasting your time. And if you have a permanent life insurance, how much is the coverage? Are you coverage of 100,000? If you have the coverage of 100,000 today, if you keep that 100,000 today for the next 10 years, imagine next 10 years at 500,000 today, in 10 years, it's gonna be like 10K. So you need to make sure you get a really good coverage, and then so that if something happens to you, your family won't struggle. I see so many people here, either in Canada, even back home, they don't get life insurance to protect themselves from any problem. And then when someone is sick or someone dies, GoFundMe. It's not a really nice picture. Why do you need to go to the point of GoFundMe? Why can't you just protect yourself? Just protect yourself from anything. Don't make your family struggle paying your bills. That's actually how I would say it. Because when you die or when you get sick, now the family have to start doing a GoFundMe, asking friends, or please guys, help. Yet you could have done it yourself. You could have protected yourself so that the family don't struggle. I've seen many people, they lose the baby, they lose the husband, they lose a sibling, they lose a sister. Now they have to do GoFundMe because that person never. For me, I'm sorry to say, if you do not have a life insurance, a permanent life insurance, I would say it's not a good thing. You need to be responsible of your life. And in the insurance, we say that if you love your family, you have to protect them. You have to protect them from your bills, from anything expense from you, so that when something happens to you, they can actually take that money. They can be able to pay all your bills, but also their lives can be improved because you took a really good coverage. So please, life insurance. If you have I deal with the insurance of the car. If you don't have a life insurance, the insurance of the car, the insurance of the mortgage. Talk about insurance of the house. Either you're renting or you're buying. Any mortgage insurance, anything that you may think of here in Canada about about insurance, I deal with that. So if you have a friend or you're someone who wants to learn, or who don't know much about life insurance or car insurance or mortgage insurance, or anything about insurance, please, you can reach out to me. We can chat. I can help you. I can show you how normally you can learn it from you. All these things I learned it by myself online, and of course I take some courses. I've learned. It was so hard, but Because I wanted to focus and be able to help other people, I decided to do it. So that's life insurance, okay? So the other thing too, I've been working on entrepreneurship. So as some of you already know, so I finished when I finished university in the marketing. I really wanted to focus on myself. I really wanted to be self-employed. So I don't know if you guys know, when you hear about marketing, there's a three people we learn into marketing. Basically, three business people. There's people who don't know anything about business, or maybe they're very struggling, or they're very struggling, or they don't know anything and they want to learn. There's a medium people who are an entrepreneur people who have a business, but they're not doing well. They're just there. Today works, tomorrow it doesn't work. They're just there. The third person who is doing well, but they want to get better. They want to come from 10 out of 10 to go to 10 out of 11. Or maybe from 10 to 11, I would say that. So all those three people is the people that I can help. The people that I can help them. From whichever stage you are, I am here. That's what I do. So you have a business, it's not working, or something is not working well, I am here to I help you. I see what's the problem and try to help you to focus. Or if you don't have any business, in mind, or you have a business in mind and you don't know what to do here in Canada. You don't know which document to ask. You don't know which documents to put together to go to ask for a loan. Let's say in the bank. I'm your guy. I'm your person. I can help you to set it up, everything, because that's what I did at school. So into entrepreneurship or business, that's actually what I do. I help people, either myself, one of the business that I have, or I help other people who already have it or who wants to start a business here in Canada or even back home. So that's what I do. So basically all those three things, those are the things I do daily. If I'm not trying to find a deal, like a good deal on the real estate investing, I am into life insurance. I'm helping somebody else's life, somebody else's family, or someone who has issues with their car. They want to have an insurance on the car. I'm helping them. Or the mortgage, they don't have insurance on the mortgage or on their rent. I help them, all of that. Someone who wants a business, they don't know what to do, or they already have a business, but they don't know how to scale it from 1 to 10. I help them. That's what I do every single day. So much, yes, that's a lot. So I wanted to actually talk about it so that you understand what I do, what it means, and also, if you have a question or if you have something you want to share with me, you can just share here. You can comment. You can tell me what you think about what I do, or if you're learning, or anything. So that has been my life lately for the last, I would say, 12 months, or in the last 2 years. I would say the last 2 years, because it's been so beautiful, but I've been so busy. But I promise you guys, I will make sure every week at least I release one video. Even if it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 15, I want to release it, because I want you guys to share with you my journey, to see where I am and what I'm doing and where I'm going. You cannot go far if you don't see your why today. You need to know why you're doing it, and what's your timeline and what's your goal. Because if you don't have a goal, it's like driving a car without a fuel. So you need to know what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you want to achieve. You should always, one of my coaches used to tell me, you should always have a big dream. You should always have this big dream, because it will show you how much work you need, so that you have a long way to go. Something else I like to do when I don't have any meetings, none of that. I like to listen to the podcast. I like to listen to the people who are doing an amazing job, either into real estate or life insurance, or just in the business in general. I like to listen. Sometimes I may be cooking, sometimes I may be taking shower, or I may be washing, I may be just doing something. I'm listening. I'm feeding my mind. I'm feeding my brain, because my brain needs to understand what the big people, what they're doing, and what's working right now, and how you can do it too. Because if you just have the skills but you're not trying to scale it, or you're not trying to learn from the people who are doing an amazing job, like, what are you talking about? I always listen to the podcast, the different people, either from the US or here in Canada or whatever, Australia. I love to listen to them, because they help me to grow. They help me to think bigger. They help me to think wiser. So, and as I said, make sure you're surrounded with people who are successful, because that's how you grow. Because have you ever noticed that when you're sitting with someone who puts a perfume on their clothes, let's say you did not put it, after you sit with them like for a long time, let's say 3 to 5 hours, you're sitting closer. Many times when that person leaves or you leave, sometimes because especially when you're very close, that perfume at some point you're going to smell it, because that person has been with you for 5 hours, sitting with you, next to you. So it's the same thing with life. If you are surrounding with people who are, I wouldn't say loser, but like people who are not doing well, who are not doing what you're trying to achieve, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're just gonna catch whatever they're doing. You're just gonna catch, whatever they are, that's where you're going to go. That's what you're going to do at the end of the day. If you want to grow, make sure you're surrounded with people who are doing an amazing job in the industry you're trying to build, in the industry you're trying to get better at. That's how you grow. Make sure when you have time, listen to the podcast. Listen to people, have a conversations, because that's how you grow. So anyways, guys, I've talked about a lot. That's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. But even actually for the last video that I released, I believe was like 9 months ago. So yeah, I've been so busy going through all of those things. But now I promise you, I will make sure at least once per week I release a video. I tell you what I've been doing for the whole week. Or I tell you something about my marriage, or sometimes I'll bring Edmund here and then we'll talk about what we're doing, or just in general, something that we're learning from our marriage, or something we learned from somebody else. So because I want you guys to be here, I want you guys to learn with me, I want you guys to see what I'm doing, I want you guys to go through it, to go through the journey. So thank you so much guys for watching. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Thank you for the love. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. See you next time. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Bye.